Item 2, roll call.
Nelson.
Here.
Orson. Larson.
Here.
Winchell.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Moriarty.
Here.
A bit of housekeeping before we continue. The podium mic is not working tonight, but there is a handheld mic and it's currently off. When you go to the podium, if you want to use a microphone, you need to turn it on, and then when you're done speaking, turn it off and lay it back down so we don't pick feedback up. Actually, before I get to 3, I just want to welcome Alec and Jessica and Dan, 3 new team members to the city staff. Alec is the new planning director, Jessica is the new human resource director, and Dan is the new landfill superintendent. So we had a little reception for you beforehand, a little meet and greet, so appreciate everything that you have done and will do for the city of Spencer, and we welcome you and look forward to a long-lasting and fruitful relationship. So. And if you want to speak, we have a time at the end of the agenda if you want to speak. So,
Alec had to give us a report.
Oh, is Alec giving his first report
Yeah,
tonight?
he is.
Perfect.
Impressive.
All right. Item 3 is the consent agenda. 3A, approve city council minutes of March 15, 2021. B, licenses, renewal of Class A liquor license with Sunday sales for the Loyal Order of the Moose, Lodge 496, pending final approval by the Iowa Alcoholic Beverages Division. C is a resolution authorizing permanent transfer of funds of budgeted transfers for the month ending March 31, 2021. D is a motion to approve Spencer Municipal Band Performance and Funding Agreement for 2021 season. Just like to note, it'll be nice to have a season this year. E is a motion to approve the quote from Zalaznik Equipment to install a septic tank for the RCC building at the solid waste facility for $8,970. And that can, go ahead. First by Lauren.
Second.
Second by Donovan. Discussion or question on these items? Hearing none, vote by machine, please. Brian is resetting the votes. There we go. Oh.
Oh, maybe.
All day.
Just a reminder, I ordered the weather and Brian's in charge of technology. So.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Winchell, I. Hanson, I. Reed, I. Moriarty, I.
Thank you. Item 4 is a public hearing. 4A, public hearing on the capital improvement plan for the fiscal years of 2022 through 2026. I declare the public hearing open. Have we received any written comments against?
We have none.
Are there any oral comments against? Have we received any written comments in favor of?
We have none.
Are there any oral comments in favor of? I declare the public hearing closed. Before we get into the motion, this is the final part of our budget process. I'd just like to thank the staff. We changed the budget process this year. They were very adaptive to going through a new process. Thank you for all the time and commitment you put into that, as well as the elected officials. We had several meetings related to the budget and the media for their coverage of how we go through the budget process. 4A1 is a motion to approve the City of Spencer Capital Improvement Plan for the fiscal year 2022 through 2026.
I'll make a motion on that, Mayor.
First by Ron. Second by Tracy, I believe. Tom, all right. Second by Tom. Any discussion or questions related to this? Probably been talked out. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, new business. 5A is a motion to approve proposal from Engineering Design Associates for public library HVAC improvements, project construction documents and bidding, and construction administration.
I'll move on that.
First by Lauren,
Second that.
second by Tracy. Discussion on this?
Did the library board approve or hire these people? And what do we know about who they are and what company? So we used them before?
Yeah, so we have used them before. They did the HVAC, I guess, services. They didn't install the HVAC for this building. They put together the study that the library board had commissioned 18 months ago that identified these needs. So we do have a history with them. The board, it's I guess a little bit complicated. Maybe Don or Brian could interject if I get this wrong, but because it is a city building, we approve the contract with them to manage the work, and we will approve, well, you all will approve the contractor once it's been bid out and bids have been received. So.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries. Item 5B is a motion to approve quote from Able Drainage and Excavating for $10,500 for the demolition of a dwelling at 106 West Park Street. First by George, second by Lauren. Any questions, discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 5C is a resolution to approve contract and performance bond for the 2021 sewer repair project, the quotation project, with BD Construction Services, LLC, for $28,215.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
First by Ron,
Second.
second by Donovan. Discussion?
What scope or which area are we going with this? We got an engineer here that's gonna tell us exactly where they're gonna put that, or repair the sewer?
So the sewer repairs target several different areas. We have 3 repairs on West 4th Street between 6th Avenue and 9th Avenue. We've got a repair on East 1st Street over by the high school. And then we got several repairs over on 1st Avenue West up between 14th and 15th Avenue, or 14th and 15th Street, excuse me. So a few of those need to be done before the overlay project on West 4th Street. Otherwise, the project, I think, is to be done by the middle of September.
Well, it looks like a good contract if they got that many different spots. It looks like.
Yeah, there was
I mean,
enough work to make it a decent project.
So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, vote by machine, please.
Nelson, I. Larson, I. Wunschel, I. Hanson, I. Reed, I. Moriarty, I.
Thank you. Item 6, department head reports. We'll start with the planning department. Do you want Alec to give a report?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
We talked about it this morning.
All right,
so.
Alec, it's yours.
Hello.
Yep.
There we
Yeah,
go.
it's good.
Like I said, I'm Alex Schultz, the new planning director here. I don't have a whole lot for you on the planning department. Unfortunately, I did not peruse in depth the past years or the past months progress. Sorry, but it looks like you've got a really good team here, and they've been doing great work so far. And I'm gonna look forward to working with them.
All right. Any questions for Alec? Again, welcome aboard. Look forward to seeing great things out of the department.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Library department, Mandy?
That's okay. I can figure it out. So, I'm just clumsy. I'm happy to let you know that the library is completely open, fully open. We're working on getting the meeting rooms, so those will be available soon. We have I just sent a hiring authorization for a custodian, so we have that going. And we are still requiring masks just to give, now that it's opened up, give everybody an opportunity to get their vaccines. But the board and I will be discussing that on Thursday. So we'll see what the board decides that they want to do for then. We do have, it's National Library Week this week. So if you're a supporter of the library or if you are a frequent library visitor, thank you. We appreciate it. This year has been really, really hard on libraries. So some communities have felt that they are no longer relevant. And so there have been a lot of libraries lost over this pandemic. So thank you for us not being one of them. We appreciate it, and we continue to look for new ways to serve you and, serve your digital needs and your in-person needs and your curbside needs. If you feel the urge, stop in the library and, whoever's working desk there, just tell them thank you for what they do, because they worked hard. They work hard all the time, but they worked really hard to keep us going through the pandemic and providing materials. So, just let them know that you appreciate them. We're still doing Zoom story time on Tuesdays at 10. That seems to be working really well for people who maybe have, it takes a lot of energy to throw a bunch of kids in the car and drive over to the library and come into the library and then get back out and go back home. So the Zoom story time has been really good for people that just want to have something fun to do with their kids and then go on with their day. And some people, they take their early lunch and do the Zoom story time with their kids. We do have our craft kits. The kids craft kit is an April Fool's kit. The teen craft kit is perler beads and blackout poetry. Right now, our adult craft kit is a rainbow mobile, and then starting April 19th, it's a chalkboard herb plant kit. And we do have our book club, our Zoom book club going on, and that is The Dutch House. And I'm trying to find, there we go, by Ann Patchett. I couldn't remember the author's name. And you still have time to read the book because our Zoom discussion is on April 26th at 6:30. And I'm happy to let you know we will be having some in-person programming for the summer reading program. So we're going to do those outdoors for this year. And then we'll have some virtual stuff too. So summer reading is coming up. You're going to hear more about it, and you'll probably be tired of me talking about it by the time it rolls around. But we really want to try and get as many people involved this year as we can, especially since with a lot of kids being out of school, that reading loss over the summer could be more significant this year. So that's why we do summer reading, is to encourage kids to read throughout the summer and so they don't lose the reading skills that they learned between grades. So that's the way that we try to support the school and the literacy in schools. That's all I've got. Anybody else have any questions?
All right. Thank you, Mandy. Fire Department, C, Chief Conyon. They can't hear you at home if you don't use the mic. No. Sorry.
Maybe they can.
Sorry to rain on your parade there, Chief.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Welcome to our city. Hope you like it as much as we do. All right, here we go. 56 calls for service from your Spencer Fire Department, including a few with EMS, included chest pains. We're still having some COVID issues with some of our population. Remember, we do have a free shot clinic coming up this Saturday with that. We've also had a couple of seizures as well as some diabetics. With a past furnace fire in a home last weekend, we also had somebody with smoke inhalation. We had the ambulance within our fire department went ahead and responded there. Fires included a couple of grass fires, a mutual aid fire with Everly, as well as somebody deciding to make a new entrance into a garage, and also a couple of false alarms. Going out with a couple of special duties, we also would have some CO calls. Recently, our CO detectors, as we spring ahead, not only checking your smoke detector batteries, but could you also check your CO detector? Working with Mark White, we've created a little bit of an algorithm for what to do with some of our city buildings. So that was a really great thing to do, and I appreciate it. Also, lastly, the idea of this past week, we had a retirement of Randy Swanson with 38 years, as well as Assistant Chief Ed Lawver, and to have city and county members show up. It was a very great day by all, and I appreciate it. Lastly, a couple of training topics that include hose movement, fire behavior. When we're talking about fire behavior, what I'm looking at is within a cell, rather than lobbing just water on it, with a straight stream, but also lobbing water with particulates from a fog stream, so the students and the firefighters can feel the different effects and notice what water management and conservation can do as far as home firefighting or any type of firefighting. Our EMS also, we had a recent class on traumatic brain injuries, and anytime that we get a chance to get out and serve the public, just one more way of utilizing our training for recognition of these type of things. That's it. Any questions? Thanks.
Thank you, Chief.
Passing of the mic.
All right. D, Police Department, Chief Warburton.
Good evening. This month of March, the Spencer Police Department went and responded to 1,016 calls for service, and we performed 39 arrests. This month saw the department participating in 2 separate meetings regarding mental health. In one of the meetings, I was able to meet with Senator Ernst to discuss our success with the Mobile Crisis Unit. For those of you that don't know what Mobile Crisis is where law enforcement is able to call a counselor directly to the scene and to help to diffuse a situation and offer services. So this is something that the department has found great success in, and look forward to having that funded in the future. This month, as far as training, we were able to do a department-wide training day in regards to reduction of civil liability, which was put on by our city attorney, Don Hemphill, testifying, put on by Travis Johnson, and our in-house training on defensive tactics. The department also met with 2 different companies regarding body camera demos. This is something that's in our CIP for next year, and we look forward to getting one selected here shortly. Lastly, March 29th and 30th, the USPCA dog trials were held in Fort Madison, and I'm proud to announce that Lieutenant Westfall and our K-9 medics got first place, took top dog in those trials. There were 50 dogs that were present that day, and for those of you that don't know what that trial consists of, on day 1 they have 5 vehicles that the K-9 is to search for narcotics, with 2 hides on those vehicles. Our K-9 was able to go ahead and find those 2 hides in 1 minute and 33 seconds, which was the fastest in the state. And then day 2, he went into 3 furnished rooms with 2 hides and was able to clear that in 1 minute and 50 seconds, which was also the fastest in the state. He did not drop a single point the entire 2 days. He had a perfect score. So Lieutenant Westfall's dedication to that K-9 project is unmatched, and it shows. So we're very proud of him and all the work that he's put in. For those of you that don't know our K-9 and think that that's what you want to do, I'm going to tell you it takes a dedicated person to listen to him bark in your ear for 12 hours on a shift. It takes a dedicated person, so that's something that we're definitely thankful for. So, you have any questions for me?
I'm hearing that there's been some issues down at East Leach Park. Thanks, John. I'm hearing there's some issues down at East Leach Park with some kids that are being a little unruly, and I guess language has been a big issue, some things like that. And I know that's really hard to patrol, but I told him I would bring it to your attention and get your thoughts on it. I'd like Jared to address it a little bit too. And
Sure. So there are violations of park rules down there. There's a certain set of park rules. and one of those is foul language, disorderly conduct, those kind of things. What the Parks Department has now in place is if you're found to be in violation of those park rules, and you have 3 such founded violations in 1 calendar year, then your park privileges are suspended for a year, and that goes through the park board. So that is something that we can address. We've also, if in the past, and it hasn't been used for a long time, but we do have the ability, if it is at East Leach Park and possibly the skate park area, we can go ahead and secure that facility as well for a period of time to go ahead and demonstrate that we're not going to tolerate that kind of behavior as well. So those are things that we have available to us.
I'm getting the feeling, and I don't know for sure, I can verify this and get back to you, but based on who I heard it from has smaller kids, I'm guessing it was probably the playground area and maybe the shelter, the covered shelter, but
Well, nothing replaces good parental supervision.
yeah. And
So that's, I mean,
yeah.
that's key and foremost, and it's unfortunate when other adults have to police other person's children as well, so.
So what's your recommendation if somebody sees this going on?
Yeah, they can go ahead and call the communication center. That's a non-emergency, so they can call 262-2151, and we can go ahead and send an officer out there, as well as if they see park staff available out there, they can also go ahead and report that to one of them.
Okay, thanks.
You bet.
Thanks, Chief. Public Works, Mark.
Good evening. Several street projects with this time of year, several pre-season equipment, including sweeper maintenance, loader maintenance, had a major repair they did on the backhoe, rebuilding the rear end and installing brakes and sandblasting and painting the wheels. Several days of potholing. We always have that with this heating, cooling transition a little bit in the spring. The streets always show the effects of the winter. We've removed snow fence, cleaned intakes, sod repairs from plowing, in the process of grading and graveling all the alleys in town. There's been some airport maintenance projects as well, and installing the downtown signage is one of the projects that was happening today. At Solid Waste, there's always pre-season or post-winter, I should say, litter cleanup at that facility as well. Tom's been keeping ahead of that to the best of his ability. Also like to remind you that the RCC is once again open back to its 8 to noon hours. Call for an appointment. Again, with the landfill, I'd like to welcome Dan. We look forward to working with him in his new position. That also lends that we do have an equipment operator position that's open. So if you know anybody that may fit the bill, we encourage all applications. Also, Dan facilitated some day laborers like we shared with you on the litter control, which really worked out well. And if weather conditions continue with some rain, like it says in the forecast, hopefully we can do that same thing again towards the end of the week. That's just constant maintenance. Public Works, won't go into great detail in the office. You've been getting weekly updates on those operations lately, unless you'd like more. And then we do have Craig Polson has announced his retirement for June 24th, which will be large shoes to fill, but we have applications open for that position as well to hopefully get somebody in just a little early to start learning some of those processes. So, anything else? Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Park and Rec, Jared.
Staff's currently working on some of our spring cleaning in some of the parks, so blowing out the shelter houses, cleaning up trash, which has been kind of a daily occurrence. Working on cleaning up the boulevards, the landscaping, repairing picnic tables and benches and getting those out there, getting the fields and the courts ready. We're also starting our weekly trail sweeping. We'll do that every Friday from here on out to clean those trails for the weekends. Just to kind of touch on your point, we have had some issues with some foul language and destruction of property and portable restrooms and throwing foreign objects in there. We did remove one of those at East Leach Park because it was damaging some of Koenig's equipment. So we did remove that one there. So just kind of we do have those, like Chief said, we do have those rules, and if you break those 3 times and have 3 citations, then you can be banned from the parks for a year. Another one is out at the dog park. Please clean up after your dog. We do have waste stations and bags out there for you to use, so please use those. That would be appreciated. Cardinal Field and Pedersen Park, field renovations, that company is going to start April 12th, the week of April 12th. They should be there about a week, weather depending, so that's kind of the plan there. Give a little bit of a trail update. Currently we're at close to $40,000 in donations for trail repairs. I have spent some time with Bear DeLoss and J.R. Schumacher out there kind of surveying the trail around there to take care of some of the worst parts, worst panels, and replace those. It'd be about $80,000. So currently we have $10,000 on our CIP for next year, along with the donations that we've received. The rocket slide as well, we're about $15,000 in donations so far. Spencer Park supporters have provided 10,000 of those, so it's a very generous donation from those folks, and we appreciate that. So we're still seeking donations on that. Algiers is currently sandblasting and getting those parts ready to be painted. So the process is moving along, the fiberglass work. You may have seen some of the parts of it in Arts on Grand currently, or at Century Farms Distillery. They've done a really nice job, and that stuff is close to being completed as well. Our new park technician, we're going to currently conduct interviews this week, and so we're looking forward to having another person on board to fill Bo's shoes, who took over at the County Conservation Board. And then finally, some events we have going on in May. The Major League Baseball Hit, Pitch, and Run event is on May 8th from ages 7 to 14 for both boys and girls. It's kind of like punt, pass, and kick events, but baseball. Registration, you have to register by April 19th, and so that event will be on May 8th, so we're looking forward to that. Questions, comments?
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you.
G, golf course, Brian?
I was trying to get up here just like a track, hand off the baton. Apologize for not making it here for the meet and greet. We had a lengthy but positive golf board meeting tonight. The golf course has been very busy, probably the busiest Easter I think that we've ever experienced at the golf course, which was good. Pretty much golf from sunup past sundown both days, so lots and lots of traffic, lots of new faces, lots of familiar faces, so it was good to see everybody out there golfing and enjoying themselves and having a good time. Probably the biggest project we got going on right now is our irrigation system. Started that, opening that up on Thursday, put the pump house back together on Wednesday, started running water on Thursday, filled the main lines, went through a few of the problematic areas that we had last fall that we're experiencing. Things seem to be moving in the right direction. Went well on Thursday. Friday we went individually through the greens and tees. That was pretty successful. And then this morning early irrigated greens for a while, and we'll probably do the same again early in the morning. And then the next couple days we'll continue to work through the rest of the stations on the golf course. We did have one pretty significant leak by our 6th green. Trenched in a new line today, and it is so dry. The soil was just dust from the top all the way down about 2 feet. Zero moisture anywhere, so even as much as we can try to irrigate right now is not really, it's just going to kind of sustain. We really could use some good rains from Mother Nature, and I think everyone in the community could use that as well. But otherwise, we've got most of our part-time staff coming back. Everything's going smoothly. Everybody's happy, ready to get back in the swing of things, and going good so far, and it's only April 5th. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. H, City Attorney's Report, Don?
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, the month of March was pretty routine and not very interesting, and the number of hours involved were reduced. So I thought tonight I'd take a few minutes instead to provide a little continuing education for the council and some information for the public. This morning's front page of the paper that Iowans used to depend on featured a story about the Des Moines City Council discussing a conflict ordinance that they wanted to adopt. And the article didn't make it clear that state law does provide a fairly specific and limiting conflict of interest requirements that apply to you as city officers. At your various places tonight, you'll find a few pages. The first one headed Iowa Code Section 362.5. That is the city conflict of interest provision from the Iowa Code. It essentially says that you can't take money from the city except for your compensation, your regular compensation, and then there are a few exceptions listed. A couple of exceptions that are most important. If it's a competitive bid project, then you or your business can participate. There's also a requirement or provision that was recently increased. You can provide services to the city up to $6,000 in a fiscal year. There's also a provision that says that if your conflict is by reason of ownership of a company and your ownership is less than 5%, then that's not a conflict. If it's more than 5%, then it is a conflict. So, just a reminder for the council and information for the public. All city officers are subject to reasonably strict conflict of interest provisions. We've never really had, I think, serious problems with those. I know I've discussed with a couple of you various times. I would say that if you feel that you're in a position where the question arises in your mind, give me a call and we'll talk about it so we're sure that you're clear. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Don. Item 7, engineers report. Ross?
Good evening again. We continue work on the storm sewer project adjacent to West 4th Street from the river out to the 32nd Avenue West area. We will want to meet with city staff within the next week or so to hammer out a few of those details, and that project should be getting pretty close to going out for bids. So you'll see that coming soon. A few of the other fiscal 22 projects that we have coming are the police department parking lot replacement, West Leach boat ramp project, and then some more of the annual maintenance project, which would be the seal coat project, stormwater intake replacements, concrete patching, and the crack and joint sealing project. So should see some action on all those jobs here in the next month or two. So any questions? Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ross. Item 8, city manager's report. Amanda?
Thanks, Mayor. Since we last met, I had the opportunity to attend the Iowa Municipal Managers Institute in Iowa City. We covered a plethora of topics, including some interesting housing developments in other parts of the state. We had a very robust First Amendment discussion and how it relates to local government, discussed boards of adjustment, and spent some time talking about water quality. Brian, Mark, and I met with PFM to discuss the sewer rate study that they've been conducting and the wastewater treatment plant phase 2. We do have a joint Finance and Public Works Committee meeting scheduled for April 13th at 5:30 p.m. To discuss that project. If you remember, the one bid that we received came in quite a bit above the estimate, and PFM has had an opportunity to look at that and kind of model it out for us and what that impact would be if we move forward with that. The Spencer Economic Development Corporation, you all will remember the council and the SMU board equally contributed $100,000 to that organization for an infill property project. And I can report that as of last week, SEDC had purchased 3 properties at 810, 815, and 901 4th Avenue Southeast with the intention to remove those structures and clean those lots up. And they also have purchased 822 4th Avenue Southeast, lots 1, 2, and 3, which are the vacant lots directly to the south. We have put an RFP out to contractors for those projects. Those are due back, I think, the 9th of April. So SEDC will be meeting in the next couple of weeks to award that and get moving on those projects. And then lastly, I just spent time preparing for our new employees, and we're glad they're on board, and hopefully their first day wasn't too overwhelming, excuse me. So I'll happily answer any questions you might have.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. Item 9, Mayor's Report. Just a couple items. On April 20th, we'll do, Jared and the Rocket Slide folks will be doing a presentation at Kiwanis after 5. Just an update. They called and requested today meeting to go over the project. 1 year ago, as I do a reflection, it's quite a juxtaposition to what we're talking about today. We're talking about the busiest golf Easter weekend ever. We're talking about new employees coming on board, and we're talking about the library, back up and running and moving forward with projects. A year ago, it was the opposite of that. We were unknown, and we were talking about how do we safely shut down and protect people, and we were moving into more of an isolation aspect from society and parts of our economy. And I think it's refreshing to be on the opposite side of where we were a year ago. We're in the right trajectory. I think we're headed in the right direction. This weekend, I had the opportunity to lead the internment service for my parents at their graveside burial. Dad died a year ago. My mom died 4 years ago. Just so happened that it worked out. We interned them at the same time. And what it reminded me of is how important relationships are and the connectivity that we all have as humans and a community. And so as we keep moving forward through 2021, I just would encourage everyone to live free and bold, and embrace those relationships that we have in our lives and continue to move forward with them. I think it's important, and 2021 will end up being a whole lot more certain than 2020 as we move forward through the year. League of Cities meeting, I believe, is in Sheldon this month. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And it is, what's the date on that?
15th, right?
15th?
The 15th. Week from
A week from Thursday.
Yeah.
Is anyone interested in going over there in Sheldon?
They're fun.
Possibly. I'll see what-
Ron might? George? All right.
Is a yes?
I'll go. If I don't have a track meet, I'm not in track. But if I don't have a track meet to attend, I'll
If you
go.
are,
Yeah.
Celtic.
Yeah. Nobody would want to see that. So follow up with Brian or Teresa if you want to go. Spring traffic, just a reminder, as the tractors and the agricultural traffic picks up, be patient. Nothing's too big of a hurry to cause an accident or be in an accident. Just keep everyone safe out there. Echo a little bit what Chief Warburton talked about with mental health. I had the opportunity to sit in on a Zoom call that the hospital is putting on. They did a couple different focus groups in the community. What was interesting from my perspective, I was watching the Zoom call with people who deal with mental health on a daily basis, but my takeaway was they deal with people who are at the apex of a mental health situation, really more crisis intervention, crisis management. I offered that, as a city, we can certainly have a larger discussion just about mental health in general. We don't do a lot strategically for mental health. We did yoga in the park last year, really more of a happenstance event, but I think we do have resources available as a city that, it would merit maybe a larger conversation about how to engage the public in positive behaviors, positive outlooks, and just manage the mental health from a proactive standpoint in the community, and support the organizations that do a great job in the apex or crisis situations. I did, Supervisor Barry Anderson was on that call, and I did mention that, as a city, we really don't talk about mental health, and I think that's because we're not charged with it per se from the state to manage it here. The county is. The counties manage the fiduciary aspect of mental health resources. So obviously the police department, and the fire department deal with mental health. But I think as a council, we could have a discussion about engaging a little more at the community level. We brought up with the hospital staff that Spencer's, almost 12,000 people, 11,600 or so. And the county, I believe, is right around 16,000 people. And so we could certainly be more participatory in the mental health discussion. And then echo some of Amanda's comments on the class she took about the First Amendment. I fielded some questions and concerns from some citizens about some First Amendment type things downtown, disturbances, and so I've been working with Chief, and Amanda was on vacation, but Brian and sent a memo, and so we're working through that to try to have a productive discussion, and Don, to move forward with all parties' interests involved. So that is what I've been working on. Any questions? Oh, yes. And the official part of the report. We have the appointments of Ed Kinsley and Randy Kruko to renew on the Civil Service Commission with a term that expires on April 1st of 2025. They both do a great job and have an interest in serving again. I'd entertain a motion for those appointments. First by George. Second by Tom. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your support of Ed and Randy. Item 10, council committee reports.
Yep, so we have a Public Safety Committee meeting this Wednesday at 6 p.m. to discuss our sidewalk snow ordinance. As I mentioned earlier, we have a joint Finance Committee and Public Works Committee meeting April 13th at 5:30 p.m. for the wastewater treatment plant Phase 2 discussion. We do have a airport master plan meeting tomorrow at 5:30. 5:30 here in Chambers, and we have a regular city council meeting April 19th at 6:30.
Thank you, Amanda. And to the press, to George and Joe, if possible, if you could emphasize that sidewalk discussion April 7th at 6 o'clock p.m. So there was citizens who were interested in having that discussion again. I'd just like to make sure that people know about it. That was the biggest complaint last time, because we did discuss it in January as well. So thank you. Item 11 is a motion to approve the bills and claims.
I'll make that motion.
First by Donovan. Second by Lauren, I believe it was. Sorry, Tracy, you gotta be quicker. You can get ready on the next one. Any discussion on the bills and claims? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Other business opportunity to address the council. Would anyone like the podium and microphone? Don't be shy. Nobody? Going once? Going twice? All right. Tracy, are you ready?
Yes.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
First by Tracy,
Second.
second by Donovan. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Enjoy your evening. Meeting adjourned.
So you were talking about one of the projects, was that the wastewater treatment